This is so important for you, as I've got to be perfectly honest. I know that I can give you the exact right strategies, the right tactics, the right methods to be able to build your business. But if you don't have what I'm going to take you through in this episode, there's a big chance that none of it's actually going to work. I've got to be honest, because mindset is really important. But before we even delve into this, when I say mindset, if you kind of think it sounds a bit airy-fairy, a bit esoteric, I get it. I was there as well. But I know that bringing mindset coaching into the Coaches Cartel for all of the members is a big part of why they're seeing such amazing results right now. And that's exactly what I want to bring to you, because there is two huge things that we're going to go through with Kylie that I'm going to introduce you to in just a second, because Kylie is our mindset coach inside of the Coaches Cartel. She's done amazing things for me. She's done amazing things for the clients, and I don't want to leave you hanging with this. So I want you to go all the way through to the end of this episode. I want you to take action on what we've got for you in this episode, because I think this is really, really important. Kylie, you are genuinely one of the coolest people in my life. And when it comes to mindset, I've got to be perfectly honest. Quite a while ago, I knew it was super important. It's funny because you're laughing at me already. So mindset to me was something that I thought was super elusive. It was like clutching at a cloud. It was like, okay, I know mindset's important, but what is it? And I totally stole from you. And this is something I've used in so many podcasts when I've gotten interviewed on. It was like, what is mindset? And I'm like, it's the lens in which you view the world that shapes the world you live in. That's totally Kylie Ryan. So if anyone's ever heard me say that, that's Kylie Ryan right now. I literally stole it from her and ran off with it.
I love it. Dude,
Kylie,
I've stole your ladder on the wrong wall. So I always give credit, but it's so good.
I appreciate that.
It goes both ways.
What I want to do today is I want to peel back what mindset is and how we can actually have something tangible, practical, usable into getting us to do better things, to achieve what we want at the end of the day. Because for me, I found this really interesting, because looking back, I found myself sabotaging myself, especially like, let's say as a personal trainer. I found I was always really good at getting clients when I needed them. Like when I kind of like lulled down, I was really good at getting them back up. So I had this constant wave of income coming up and down with the amount of clients I was getting and losing. And then it was like, what the shit, Chris? Like, why is this going on? Like I kind of like caught myself with it. And then there's just patterns throughout everything that we do. And it's interesting because now I've evolved so much into a different role, and now I'm really trying to step into this new role and give up the old story that I was telling myself as well. So anyway, not to make this the Chris show, even though this podcast is the Chris Dufay show, I want to make this about Kylie right now. Before we even dive into this, I really want to know what actually got you into this.
Dude, it's who I am. I'm like the biggest like learning nerd. And so like even back in school, I was the like super nerdy kid that was asking all these questions, and I was like reading books that were way too advanced for my age, like to the point where my teacher called my mum one time and went, did you know that she's reading this like adult book at like 12? And my mum was like, no. But so mindset found me. I was always that kid that, kind of encouraged others, or that people would come to with their problems, and I kind of had a, supportive word to say or something. But I'm a singer as well. And I initially found mindset through my singing teacher, one of my dear mentors, and she got into NLP, and which is neuro-linguistic programming. And she just wanted someone to practice with. And so I was her guinea pig because I was her student, and we did a couple of, processes, and it totally blew my mind wide open, right? You know, those old movies where it's like in black and white and then they recolor it. And so they do a scene where it goes from black and white into color. That is what that first session was like. It was like I walked in and my world had been in black and white, and I walked out and it was in color. And it was so like changing of everything that I'm like, man, this is so cool. Wow. I have to, and like after that point, we did a few more sessions, and then I'm like, man, I want to like learn this. And so I learned it within the year. And then in that year, after I initially trained in NLP when I was 23, so I was pretty young to get into it. So when I initially trained in it in 23, I was overweight. I was partying, taking heaps of drugs. I was sleeping around. I was like not in a good state in my life. And I lost weight. I started singing professionally. I started my own business. I got out of debt. I stopped taking drugs. I stopped partying so much. I got fit, got healthy. Like within a year, my life just went.
Wow.
So then people started asking me like, what did you do? And so I started my business, my coaching business, doing weight loss mindset coaching, because that was the like biggest tangible result. I lost like 30 kilos in, I lost 20 in 3 months, like wow. doing 20 in 3 months following, you'll remember this, following Bill Phillips' Body for Life.
Oh, Body for Life, dude.
Which is like it's old school. But it's the perfect trading plan for my meso body. So it was like gun. So that got me into mindset, and I've always been a pretty kind of spiritual person, I guess. And so it started this like ongoing personal development coaching, like nerdy thing where I've just like accumulated certification after certification and course after course, and from mindset to epigenetics to spiritual growth, like business, internet marketing, all of the things.
Amazing. Okay. So for me, we've obviously talked a lot about like mindset and spirituality and stuff like that, but I brought you in to become the mindset coach in the Coaches Cartel, because the thing that astounded me was, why can two people have the exact same plan, like the exact same strategies, the same tactics, the same methods? Do you mean one burns, fails, and doesn't achieve anything? The other person gets all the accolades, makes all the money, do you mean wins, crushes it totally. Yeah. And it's like, to me, I found that really, really interesting, because I was like, okay, I know that we've got the methods, the strategies, the tactics, like that's all down, but what's that missing link? Because I feel like every single week we have our coaches meeting together, and it's always like bleeding through the forehead to make sure that everyone is winning as much as possible. And that's where I was like, there is a missing link right here. And that missing link is the mindset piece. And so exactly, because it's how we show up at the end of the day to do what it is that we need to be able to do. And you said something before we hit record, Kylie, that I thought was just one of your, super knowledgeable nuggets. And that was like, some people just have their handbrakes on, and some people don't even know that they've even got a handbrake. And I was just like, oh shit. Okay. So let's start there. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is this whole handbrake stopping someone from achieving what they want? And what is someone not even knowing that they have a handbrake?
100%. Okay. So we start with, let's think about the inner game and the outer game. So the outer game is the strategies. It's like, put this here, do this now, step here, talk to this person, hire this person, do a video. That's the strategic steps that you need to do in the outside world. That's the outer game. And you can have like the perfect outer game system, and the person that has, and the outer game system takes someone from where they're starting, like from let's say cliched, from zero to hero, right? The strategy goes from zero to hero. So the people that can follow that strategy and get those hero results and crush it are the people that naturally have, for whatever reason, some kind of internal alignment, some inner game alignment with the hero at the end. They're like, yeah, I can be that. I can do that. That's me. And so they follow the steps and they get the result and they become the hero in their business. People that follow the steps and don't get the result, or follow some of the steps and then go back to their old thing, or can't even get themselves to begin the steps, they might want to be the hero consciously, and they might talk to themselves. They're like, yeah, I have this goal, I'm moving towards this thing. But internally, somewhere, for whatever reason, they have this handbrake on that says, you can't be that. You can't be that. You can't do that. You can't have that success. Right. And so even though they might do the step, like they might willpower themselves through and force themselves to do it, if they don't internally have a level of congruency and alignment with being that person that has that result, they will 100% sabotage it. Like, without a doubt. And it might come from the weirdest place, right? Sometimes people do all the steps and then like their kid gets sick, or, you know, something happens, or like their mortgage falls through, whatever it is, you know, like it could be some random reason, but that is a part of the co-created sabotage strategy. Or they get an injury, or they get an illness, or like something happens and they can't finish the thing. So the handbrake is this metaphor for the internal, like the internal world, the beliefs, the values, the meta programs, the self-identity, the self-worth, the self-esteem, all of these things that make up your internal frequency of, am I worthy of this result, or am I not worthy of this result? And the thing about that internal handbrake that most people don't even know is there, this is the thing, right? It's the lens that we see the world that shapes the world we live in. So if you don't know that you're looking at the world through a lens, like if you had contact lenses put on you at birth and you didn't know that you were wearing contact lenses and they were shaping the world and tinting the world a certain color, then like this black and white thing, right? If they shaped the world and you were in black and white and you just thought the world was black and white, you didn't even know you were wearing a lens. Right? This is what's happening. People have conditioning and imprints and beliefs that have shaped their world from when they were little kids, right? We grow up with, you've got little kids, I've got little kids. They are sponges, man. They pick up and adopt and just soak up everything about the world around them. And the things that they pick up the most of that would never really ever be explicit is like, is this world safe for me? Am I supported by life? Am I in danger if I do something out of the box? Like, is my creativity allowed? Am I allowed to make mistakes? Do I get punished if I do the wrong thing? Right? Those types of things are, you know, just implicitly learned when you're so little, and they become the lens that you see the world that you don't even realize is a lens. Right?
This is so fascinating to me. This is probably one thing that fascinates me the most in life right now.
It's wild.
There's so many rabbit holes I want to go down, so I'm going to keep myself to track to the path that I've written down that I'm going to, but then I'm going to weave in these other stuff as well, because I definitely want to like open up and share like how I felt about my own unworthiness and guilt as well about everything. So I want to go down that part and kind of like share that with the audience as well. But one of the first things that you've created inside of the Coach's Cartel for the mindset coaching is the follow the recipe. So can you kind of open the kimono as to like, what is the follow the recipe?
Okay. So the follow the recipe is like, if you think about you've got to bake a cake and you've never baked a cake before, right? You could try and imagine what a cake, you know, maybe you've tasted cake and you're like, oh, maybe it's got some flour, maybe there's some eggs. Like you could try and imagine what all of the recipe, you know, imagine what the ingredients are and imagine what the recipe is and try and figure it out on your own. and have a lot of mess along the way, and probably a lot of like really disgusting cakes as you're figuring it out. Or you could find someone that makes a really great cake that you like, that is tasty to you, right? That matches with what is appealing to you in your life. You find someone that makes the juiciest cake that you love, and you get the recipe, and then you follow the recipe, right? It's as simple as that. So, you've got fitness business people that are buying into or wanting to create an online fitness business, and so they may be like buying into the recipe, but they're not following the recipe. And so following the recipe as well is a little bit of, you've tried this maybe yourself, or maybe you haven't tried it. You're just starting out and you want to like get the fastest path to hero. And so the thing is, you currently, as the person listening, right, you don't necessarily have the answers to get that perfect cake, to have that. You haven't solved all of the problems along the way. You don't even know half the problems that exist that you might encounter along the way. You don't know what's the first priority and what's the last priority and what's the bits in the middle. You don't know any of that stuff. But when you follow and learn from someone who has gone through those steps before, and this is the piece that's really interesting, right? That I've had to learn the hard way myself, is that sometimes you can get the recipe from a mentor or someone that has the result that you want, but they don't have it in the way that you want it, right? You can learn from a mentor or get the recipe to get like more sales or whatever. But if they're doing it in the way that doesn't fit with your values and doesn't fit with who you want to be, then that recipe is not going to be the right recipe for you.
Okay, I so have to jump in right now and
It's not the right recipe.
Yeah, totally. Because especially for me, like when I choose mentors, I really think about like, is this person embodying the values that, like, is this someone that I really want to become like? Like, do you mean a mutual mentor of ours, like Taki? Like from the get-go, when we first became friends and I got to know him, I was like, this dude is someone that I really like as a father, 100%. As a husband, as a businessman, as a friend, as a human. I was like, this dude totally is ticking the boxes for me. Yeah. And I totally credit him as to why. I was just like, I'm just going to follow exactly what you do.
Follow the recipe.
Yeah,
you just follow the recipe.
It's as easy as that. Like, oh, okay. So I keep going because that's so true.
Yeah. It's so true. And, I think you've probably done this before. I've done this before, is like I've bought recipes for things that got the result that I want, but not in the way that I wanted it. Yeah. And from people that had different values, not wrong, just different values to me. And so that recipe was not the right recipe for me. And so first of all, you've got to find the person that has the recipe that gets the result that you want, that's tasty for you, that matches with your values. And then once you have that, here's the thing, right? Our own internal sabotage and handbrakes can get in the way. Like, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I can't do this. Maybe, and you start second guessing yourself. Or going after like all the different shiny things and like, I'll get this recipe and I'll get this recipe and I'll get this recipe. No. If you found a good recipe, even if you don't believe it, even if you don't believe that you have the capacity to do it, if you trust the mentor, and they have a level of integrity and embodiment that is authentic and is evident, right? Like you have evident results. You have an evident level of embodiment and integrity, in just the same way. So you have those results. So your mindset as the client, your current results, your current beliefs, your current strategies have not gotten you the result that you want. So
isn't that interesting? Like I just, it's just, follow it. Yeah, totally. Like, let's be perfectly honest. Someone pays good money to come into a high level, high touch coaching program. And one of the biggest things that we actually have to do is actually make sure that they just follow it. And it's so funny because there's one client that comes to mind. Awesome guy. He's in LA. And we had a recent coaching call, And he's like, oh yeah, like this is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whoa, hang on. I was like,
hold on.
I don't never remember saying that. And I was like, can you break that down again for me? And he went through it and I was like, no, that's totally not what I want you to do. I don't think I was like, that's not the recipe. Like, and he went through and then I was like, where did you get that from? And then he was like, oh yeah. Like, oh, he's like, I don't know why I'm doing that. Like you totally like, that's not the method that you have given me. And I'm like, okay, interesting. And I was like, dude, don't you think that's interesting? Like you totally went and just ran off with something else and you're not following it. Because one thing I've said so much, like I put this into the documentary because I think it's so important, is like you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen. So it totally goes with the recipe analogy, but it was like, if you have too many cooks in the kitchen, you've got too many recipes that you're trying to do. Like if you're trying to make a donut, but you're trying to make a waffle and then you're trying to make doing an omelette over here. Yeah. You're like, oh dude, it ain't going to work. Like this is not going to be a tasty meal. So I think that's really interesting. Okay. So step number 1, we've got to follow the recipe.
Follow the recipe. There's a tangent I could go down, but I won't. I'll save it for your
Okay.
people.
All right. Okay. Good. Okay. Good. Okay. We'll keep it for them. Now the present moment power. This is kind of like the next step, which is I will term more advanced mindset coaching, in which you bring to the table. Yeah. What is the problem that we're solving with this first?
The problem that we're solving with this is the state in which we're using to follow the recipe, right? A lot of people don't have any kind of awareness that they have the power or the choice over being able to change their current present moment state.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? Most people they just think that they're like, however they're feeling that day is just like, it just is what it is. So then they're dependent on if they got out of bed on the right side, or if, all of the special conditions lined up just the right way for them to be in a good state and to be able to do the things that they want to do. And if they're having a bad day, well, that's a bad day, just write off the whole day, right? So present moment power gives you it's 3 ingredients, 3 pieces that when you bring them together, they give you the fortitude, the strength, the leverage points to be able to change your state and shift from it being a bad day to it being a good day, and from you feeling unworthy to feeling worthy, or, from you feeling like a 0 to going, you know what, I'm really aligned with being this hero and I'm going to follow the recipe. I'm going to get the results.
Okay. You give me blue balls over here. You got to keep going. Tell me what it is then.
Okay, so the thing is, right? So it's giving you the ability to change in any moment and take charge over your state. So it is this 3 things: story. What is the story I'm telling myself in this moment? Right? What is the state that I'm in? What is the state that I'm in? What's the emotional state? The energetic state? How am I, what state am I actually in right now, but having awareness of it? And then what is the stance? So this is the physiology of it. What's the body of it? Because your state, you might feel happy or sad or angry or annoyed or however you feel, tired, energetic. That by itself, if you're really frustrated or you're really annoyed at someone and someone just says, hey, you can choose to be happy. You're like, fuck off, asshole. I don't want to just choose to be happy. Get out of here. It's like people that just go, oh, you can just choose to be happy. You want to punch them in the face. So right? It's true. So you don't try and change state by itself, but you change the leverage points on either side of it. You can change the story that you're telling yourself, and you can change the stance that you're in any moment. You can change literally the way that you're standing, the way that you're sitting, the way that your physiology is arranged, right? Which is why exercise is so amazing at getting a positive mindset going, and why fitness people are generally such freaking legends, because they have a habit of putting their physiology through a series of movements that puts them in a good state. that's the secret of why personal trainers are legends, because they have a conditioned habit of exercising, which puts their stance into an empowered, positive, like, I'm going to take on the world. I can do hard things. I can lift heavy things. I can run fast. I can, all of that conditions your mindset to create empowering stories.
I love this. How do we change our story?
Good question.
I want to preface this because I find this super interesting. It took me a long time, way too long as what it should have been, for me to stop calling myself a personal trainer. Like, I quit personal training in 2014. I was an online coach after that. And then eventually end up skip a few and running Coach's Cartel now. And I was like, I'm not a personal trainer. I still own a fitness business, but I am doing the coaching in the fitness business. Yeah. Because I got to a point where I was like, if I have to write another diet or training program, I'm going to noose myself
in the head. Yeah.
And so I'm just really interested into what is it that we need to do to change the story? Because I totally agree with you. If we change our story, it has such a powerful flow-on effect.
Huge. It's huge. So, okay. So there's a few angles I could take this from.
Yep.
First of all, in order to change, like, the first step in changing anything is awareness that it's there. Right? So many people don't even realize that they are telling themselves a story. So let's get clear that there is a story running in your head, even if you're not currently aware of it, right? There's a story running in your head right now. And every time you go to approach something, there's a bunch of different stories that get activated. It's like, can I do this? Am I worthy of this? Like, who do I need to be? What kind of results is this going to, this is going to be good for me? This is going to be bad for me. And the trick is that they usually say it. You say it to people. It's like, oh, this is a bad day, or I'm having a bad day, or, oh, this is my funny knee, right? Things like that. Like, that's a story. This is my funny knee is a story that you tell yourself about your knee that then creates a state in your knee and a state in your body, right? So if you say to yourself, it's like, what are you saying to yourself? What is your internal dialogue to start with? Just becoming aware of it. And then the next step is like going up a level and going, if that's the story I'm telling myself. So the first step is becoming aware that you have a story. The second step is going up a level and going, if now that my awareness is on the fact that I have a story, I'm not inside the story. Yeah. It's like I've taken off the lens and gone, there's a lens that I'm looking at the world through this story. So then you get the power of choice of going, do I like this story? Do I want to change this story? Is this an empowering story or is it not? And so then from there, you can make a decision about that story. Yep. That's a meta decision. And then you can rewrite that story.
Oh, dude. Okay. Shit. So literally yesterday, I started rewriting my story. I was training yesterday and I was just like, I need to rewrite my story, like literally need to rewrite it. And so after I sat down with my journal and I just started, I first started writing I ams, like doing like I am, and kind of like putting specific labels that I wanted to put upon myself. And then I just started kind of like free flowing writing, like doing a story about myself, because I was also thinking about what's the story that I want to look back upon what I have done doing 100%. In my life. So I find this really fascinating that you're saying this. So what came up, and this is a selfish question from where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm clear. Step one, I have somewhat awareness as to what's going on, what my inner dialogue is, what my story is. Step two, I've gotten clarity on what the story is that I want it to be. Mm-hmm. How do I ingrain it and actually make that true?
Okay, so there's a few steps. There's a few steps in here, but there's another piece about story that's really useful to know. So if and it's a simple little metaphor of like, what if this story is a part of the script of your movie,
Yep.
right? Of your life, the movie of your life that you're playing in your head, of the movie
Yep.
of your life. What genre is that movie? Like, is it an action hero movie? Is it a comedy? Is it a romance? Is it a tragedy? Some people live in tragedies.
Yeah, interesting.
Some people right now, like with all this corona thing, a lot of people are living in a zombie apocalypse movie.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, what kind of movie am I living in? What kind of story am I telling myself? What kind of hero am I in this story? Am I the hero? Am I the villain? And getting clear on, because like we all know movies and we're all kind of embedded in this mindset of the hero's journey. Yeah, the hero's journey. So, you know, you would remember like Star Wars or The Matrix or any of those kind of, you know, every movie pretty much follows this loosely, the hero's journey. And the hero's journey is the journey of a shift in identity, which is the change that you're asking for from, hey, I've got this set of beliefs and stories about myself and I want to have a different set of stories and beliefs about myself. How do I get from here to here? There's this shift, right, that we need to go through. Like in Joseph Campbell's, he does it like this, like the story of going through the circle, meeting the mentor, going into the inner world, discovering the hidden dragons and demons, and meeting the father and atoning with the father, and then coming back up into the real world. So that's a whole process in itself, right? That's a whole process in itself. But the simplest way is to go, okay, my story now and where I'm at now is a function of my purpose and who I'm being, right? The levels of change, if you think about a pyramid, there's, this is calling on Robert Dilts's work. So there's the environment that we live in. There's the behaviors that we do, the next level up. There's the capabilities of, can we do that behavior? There's our values and beliefs, which is where the stories sit. There's our identity is the next level up, and we can have multiple identities playing out at any one time. And there's our purpose, right? And so, and beyond that, it goes into like mission and transmission and things like that. But let's just stick to purpose for now. So so in order to change a lower level element, you need to go up to the higher level. Gotcha. So if we want to change a story, we need to go up to the identity and the purpose. And then it becomes easy because you just go, what is the story? Well, who am I being when I tell myself that story? Who do I want to be? And when I'm being that first identity, what's my purpose? And why do I want that? And does this align with the truth of who I am and my true purpose? And then you can find that sometimes there can be an interfering purpose in the way. And when you align back up to your highest purpose, it will call out your best identity to fulfill that purpose.
Okay, I totally love this. And this is really good. Like this is so important. Like this is the thing, like anyone that wants to achieve more in any aspect of life needs some sort of grasp upon this conversation right now.
100%.
So what I kind of alluded to earlier in the conversation was something about myself. One thing I know that I have, I'll use the word battled with, is worthiness, right? Or maybe another one that also came up.
So many people battle with that. It's like there's not a human on the earth that doesn't battle with that in some way.
So my question to you is, does worthiness and belief kind of dance with each other? Are they almost synonymous with each other?
Well, the stories that you're telling yourself and how much you believe in yourself. You can break it down of like, how worthy am I as a person? How much do I esteem myself and value myself? That's self-esteem. Like how much do I esteem and value myself? And how confident am I in, my ability to do things? right?
Gotcha.
And so they're slightly different things,
Yep.
and most people lump them together, and that's where we get into problems.
Yep.
So your self-worth, right? Your self-worth is, and people don't realize this, but this is like, if you only take one thing from this podcast, listen to this. Your self-worth is intrinsic. It's not dependent on anything. You are worthy the minute that you're born, right? And people know this. Like when you see a little baby and it can't do anything, it can't, it can't do anything at all. It needs to be totally cared for. But we have an intrinsic and innate understanding that a baby, when it can't do anything, is worthy. That's unconditional.
Mm-hmm.
It's unconditional worth. And so along the way, somewhere in our conditioning and our childhood, most people learn and conflate the idea that their worthiness is conditional upon their ability to do certain things, reach certain goals, have certain attributes, be tall or muscular or have a certain amount in their bank or, whatever. And they collapse this idea that their worthiness is dependent or conditional on some external factor.
Yes.
It's not. Yeah?
Yes.
It's not.
I'm saying yes from a very experiential, I've just gone through this. Yes.
Just gone through this, right? Yeah. So your worth is not conditional. And so that's the first mistake that most people make is thinking that their worth is conditional. And that's because they've learned and been conditioned by parents who also thought their worth was conditional, who just passed it on without, doing the best they could. So your worth is conditional. Your worth is unconditional.
Yeah.
Your confidence is conditional upon your competence.
Yes.
Right? Your confidence I'm not confident that I can fly a plane because I can't fly a plane.
Yep.
But I'm confident in my ability to learn.
Yep.
I'm confident in my ability that if I needed to fly a plane, I could find the right teacher, follow the steps, and learn how to fly a plane.
Yep.
But I'm not confident that I can fly a plane right now. And that's a good thing.
Yes.
That's a good thing. So
okay,
people
hang on. I want to try and put this together in my head right now because this is really good. So first, to me, rung of the ladder is our worthiness is unconditional. Second rung of the ladder is, do I have the belief that I can get the skill? And then the third rung is, can I actually acquire the skill?
Yeah. So there's self-worth, self-confidence, and self-efficacy.
Okay. Self-efficacy. That was the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and most people call self-esteem, like they bundle all that together and they call it self-esteem.
And they're completely different.
That's the problem because they're completely different things.
I got a question.
Yeah. Yes,
so
Chris.
I'll just, thank you. I appreciate it. No one else got a question? So upon myself, if I had to answer this myself, I have confidence in myself that I can acquire new skills, and I know that I have the self-efficacy. It's the knowing of the unconditional worthiness that I don't have. Yeah. Okay. This is good.
And so this is the fix for this, right? This is the visualization for this is when you've held any one of your daughters when they were born and you had that moment of, whoa, this is a miracle. And you just feel that like heart bursting explosion of love. Like, oh my God, this being is so magical. I can't even believe it. Life, like this is life. Wow. Like Rumi, your children are the, expression of life longing for itself. When you have that moment of, wow, like my children are a miracle, or a child that I know, it might not be your child, a child that I know is, wow, that's a miracle. Then you take the step back and go, I was a child like that once. And so if I, as the adult self, could imagine holding my own baby self coming into the world, and see my own inherent wonder and magic and preciousness and value, if I could just like imagine holding my own baby self when I first came into the world and honoring and loving and recognizing the inherent value that I have just by being here.
Dude, this is so good. Okay, this is amazing. So I think we've gone through so much and we've come up on time on this. So a couple of key takeaways for the listener right now. One is going to be follow the recipe to start off with. The actions that you have taken thus far have gotten you the results that you have. So if you want different results, you must take different actions. Take that from someone that has actually achieved those things.
That has achieved those results. Yeah.
Okay, I get this. I'm ticking the box.
Yeah.
With the present moment power, that's where we're looking at how are you showing up in the world to then do what it is that you need to do on a consistent basis to achieve what it is that you want to achieve.
Yeah. How are you showing up? Yeah, exactly.
Question that just pops into my head is like, how do you help someone actually have the awareness? I feel like this is something like comes a little bit natural to me.
Yeah.
But if someone isn't aware and someone's like, no, like they're just like, let's be perfectly honest, we're dealing with a lot of the audience right now in the health and fitness industry. There are some big egos.
Massive.
How do we help kind of like pierce through that so that that person's like, okay, I'm ready to go on my own hero's journey.
My own hero's journey. Your hero's journey, right? Your hero's journey into yourself is at once the greatest challenge, the most grueling workout, and the biggest, most intense marathon that will stretch you and call on you in every facet of your being, physically, emotionally, mentally, energetically, spiritually. So if you have a big ego in the fitness world and you have mastered the physical plane and you have mastered taking your body from zero to hero, or you know how to master the physical plane, or you know how to master the business plane, then you've got 4 more planes to go.
Mm-hmm.
So you might think you're hot shit with a big ego in the fitness industry because you've mastered your physical body and the material plane, and that's fucking awesome, and I celebrate you. And emotional, mental, energetic, and spiritual, you got 4 more rungs to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like you're just at the start of you've reached the top of one mountain.
Yep.
So there's more mountains to go. And it's the most opening, humbling, greatest success, right? You can reach the top of that physical mountain and find that it's empty, right?
Yep.
A lot of people that I talk to, they get the result and they're like, I still don't feel worthy. Like secretly, I still I have all the money, I have the hot girlfriend, I have the muscles, I look the part.
Yeah.
But I actually still don't feel worthy. And that's because ego-based achievements are driven by external validation.
Yep.
I need to see the muscles. I need to see the bank balance. I need to have the success. I need people telling me that I'm awesome. And that external validation, the need for external validation, is a sign that self-worth piece isn't in place.
Dude, it's really funny. So it's now been, 10 or 11 days where I've had no social media. Like I deleted it off all of my phones. Like I don't have any metrics of anything coming through there. I have a team member that like manages all of that stuff. And if there's any specific messages that come through for me, she'll Slack me and I can reply, and then she replies back to them and that sort of thing. And it's been so interesting. One, because my phone has like no use to me anymore. Like I'm doing it's just to listen to books and podcasts. Like that's about it.
So good.
And it's been able to completely disconnect from all this shit in the rest of the world. Like, I get it. Like, I was at the gym training yesterday, and there was this dude, and he must have taken 6 to 7 minutes, I swear, on trying to get like this photo or Instagram story of himself or something like that. And I was just like,
Yes.
is that, and obviously in the world we're in, it's like, is that actually getting you what it is that you want, i.e. clients? Because that, do you know what I mean? Like that's, and the answer for so many people is no, but it's also looking for validation outside of oneself. And I know I fell into that trap. And that was like, I was like, totally. And I was like, it's got to go. And I just had to like cold turkey it straight off.
Did you find it was uncomfortable, the first, like the spaciousness of it, of like once it's like, oh, when you take that drug away? Yeah,
I found myself picking up my phone and like going, oh, like why did I like literally? I was like, oh,
the addiction.
I was like, I totally picked up my phone. I didn't need to pick up my phone, and so now it's hilarious. Like I'm genuinely so much happier because of it.
So good.
And at the moment, I will say, I hope I actually don't ever put it back onto my phone. And I keep this going, but I gave myself a 1 month experiment. I was like, it's going to be completely off and see how I go. But anyway, so far so good. Kylie, this has been amazing, and this is this has to be part one of part many for the listener. This is exactly why I wanted to bring Kylie as the mindset coach in the cartel, because there's so much. This is so important. This is one half. This is one side of the coin when it comes to actually getting this stuff done, because I am such a believer that you can have the strategies, tactics, methods, doing all of that stuff, and it still not actually be the full formula that you need, because you need this onto it. Kylie, I think it's you're like amazing. It's,
if I was to summarize that piece, it's like it's not just the strategy that you're doing. It's the frequency and the way that you're doing that strategy. It's the way that you're doing that strategy, because if you don't believe it and you're following all the steps, you're not going to get the result.
I love that.
Yeah. But if you're doing it with faith and conviction and power and like joy, that's going to be embedded in every step of that strategy, and you're going to get a freaking delicious cake that makes you a bunch of money.
That's it. Kylie, where does the listener go to find out more about you and everything you're doing? Because I know they're going to be chomping at it for more.
Chomping at the bit. You can find me at My Mind Coach on all of the relevant channels, mymindcoach.com.au, on Facebook, on Instagram. All Beautiful. Of the places.
All right. We'll make sure that that's in the show notes for everyone. Yay. Kylie, I love you. Thank you so much for spending the time. I really appreciate it. I always walk away a better human being after spending time with you. So it's awesome.
It's a joy, Christopher.
It's really been unbelievable. The whole experience has been amazing. We love you guys. We are so appreciative and so blessed that we found you. And we're just excited. We're so excited for the things to come.
Honestly, joining the Coaches Cartel has been the best decision I ever made in my career. Hands down. They gave me the right mentorship and information that I was thirsting for.
What was super, super cool was just getting to know Chris the guy, Chris the dad, Chris the business owner, chats over coffees. And that's when I think you really realise that hey, this is the real deal and this is the place to be. This is going to have an impact on your life, your relationships. You're going to earn a stack load more money, and you're going to have a bigger impact on the world.
Chris is amazing at what he does. I mean, he will give you that system, that process, even to the point where he will give you the messaging or a template that puts out, has such a quick response for people, gets people back into your business, having a conversation. And I just found the biggest thing was the guidance around some of these little steps.
Now I get to work from home, support my wife, and actually do the work that I love, because I'm helping other people and impacting their lives, whilst having the freedom to be able to live life on my terms.
If you've been struggling for a long time to get the results you've been looking for, then it's time to put your ego down and hire a coach and let him take you through the proven process. And Chris is the man to do that.
I was a bit skeptical about it at the start. I'm so happy I did. I have ×5 my weekly income because I am able to now work only 8 hours, but more efficiently and more effectively. You have to think about your future here. If you're feeling a little bit skeptical about it, just think to yourself, why not have financial freedom now? I wish I did it sooner, trust me. Do it and you will not regret it.